After Vienna, we headed out to Salzburg. The roads from Vienna to Salzburg were pretty good, a little bumpy, and it was very, very windy. So we had to kind of take it nice and slow in the van. We were starting to see the Alps in the distance. That was probably the coolest part of this drive. Everything around you just starts to turn into mountains, and it's kind of a really cool feeling knowing that you're headed right straight towards the Alps. This video is a bit long, but we wanted to show you everything we saw in Salzburg, so come on, let's go. Hey y'all, we're Tim and Tammy, and we're from Fargo, North Dakota, USA. We got married in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. While planning our honeymoon, we discovered that we missed travel so much that we decided to sell everything we owned and travel full-time. We moved to Turkey to buy a camper van and traveled to 100 countries in our van with our two kitties, Gunther and Maisie. Join us as we take you around the world and show you the real van life adventures. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
So, with the line together for two devices, 24 hours.
Okay.
First stop today, Mozart's house, the adult one.
Yep. Yep.
And we're actually downstairs in the cafe at the moment. He lives up there.
One certain house in Salzburg always draws particular attention. The house in which Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born. Salzburg's most famous son was born on January 27, 1756, and his family actually lived here for 26 years, occupying an apartment on the third floor. Mozart spent his childhood and much of his youth here, and did you know that he was a knight officially? The Pope dubbed Wolfgang a Knight of the Golden Spur. However, instead of finding a baroness befitting his station, like his father and the Pope had hoped, the young Mozart married for love, and his noble status was merely filed away as a fun fact. Travel shapes you. That's something that Mozart said for good reason. Even as a small child, Mozart was a well-traveled European, making it all the way to London. Bear in mind, the main form of transportation in those days was a horse-drawn carriage. Uncomfortable and slow. Very slow. In fact, a journey to Vienna, which according to Google Maps is 3 hours by car, might take the better part of a week. All in all, Mozart took 17 major trips, costing him 3,720 days of his life. That equates to 10 years, 2 months, and 2 days. And since Mozart lived to the age of 35, that would be almost a third of his life he spent traveling.
So it still doesn't answer my question. So the hop on, hop off for 24 hours would still be $20 a piece with the car.
The oldest church in Salzburg is the Abbey of St. Peter. It dates back to 696 and remains the oldest continuously active monastery in the German-speaking world. Spreading the Christian message to the northern edge of the Alps, St. Rupert built the original church and monastery on the ruins of a Roman city, Juvavum. He renamed the town Salzburg. A major fire destroyed the original buildings in May of 1127, and Abbot Balderich rebuilt the basilica in grand Romanesque style. Although the buildings were subject to numerous adaptations over the centuries, the church interior retains its original three-nave Romanesque design to this day. During the Middle Ages, St. Peter's became famous for its exceptional writing school. In fact, it still houses the oldest library in Austria, holding a whopping 100,000 books, and a manuscript authored by Bishop Virgil in 784 AD. During Mozart's early years in Salzburg, Abbot Dominic Hagenauer administrated St. Peter's Church and Monastery. Hagenauer celebrated his first Mass at St. Peter's in October of 1769, and Mozart composed the Dominicus Mass for this festive occasion. Hagenauer wrote in his diary, "Music for the Mass composed by Wolfgang Mozart, 14 years of age, which in everyone's opinion was most elegant." The Mass lasted over 2 hours, which was necessitated by the great number of worshippers and the fact that Wolfgang Mozart played on the great organ for a half an hour, to the astonishment of all. Hat maker since 1893. The double-headed dragon, sign of Austria. Look at this stuff. Wow. Cool. Furs for less. No, thank you.